Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Leadership Speak series at L Forum. Today, I have the honor and privilege of welcoming Mr. Anand Chatrath, Managing Partner of BM Chatrath and Company LLP, Chartered Accountants. They have presence across the globe today, and I would like to, or like we all would like to hear their story from Anand. Hello, Anand. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me, Ringo. That's very kind of you. I'm honored to be here.
It's our privilege. And like I said, and I shared with you when we spoke, that this group, which I call the L Forum Group, is meant for entrepreneurial leaders like yourselves. And I try to bring leaders from various industries and various verticals and geographies and share their experiences and their journey with our audience. And I believe there's a lot of positive response to each podcast that I have done so far. So, as you know, we try to keep these questions very simple, and try and hear your story as much as we can. So, without further ado, I would like you to walk us through your journey as a leader and the story of BM Chatrath and so on. So,
Sure. So, if I can just give you I'll start with a brief description of myself, of our organizations, two organizations whom we operate through, and our overview of our team, if I may do that. So basically, we operate from BM Chatrath and Company, which is a LLP, which is a practicing CA firm. And happy to tell you, it's about 100 years old. 100 years old. We have a legacy of 100 years.
That is something. That is amazing.
Yeah, I am the third generation, grandfather, father, myself. And of course, we are totally professional for the last many, many years and last over 30 years. And we are 19 partners now and 6 offices, 6 own offices all across India. We are in all the metro cities, plus in the smaller places like Bangalore, etc. Bangalore, which is a boom town. always booming. So then we started doing a lot of back office work in the CA firm, because I decided personally about 25 years ago that we are a mid-sized accounting firm in India, that we could not take on the Big Four. Big Four are they're like God up there, and we are like mid-level. So you can't fight with God. So, but back office, we can come in like this and do many, many things. So very happy to tell you, we've been working a lot. We do a lot of back office work with a lot of foreign banks in India, including Citibank, HSBC, DBS Bank, etc., and a lot of private banks also. We started with all this, and then we switched on to back-end accounting services all across the globe. So we are members of 2 large international organizations, one headquartered in the UK, London, and one headquartered in the US. Each organization is about 200 member firms. 200 locations all across the globe, over 100 member firms. The one in the US is very large. These are independent accounting firms we are members of. The one in the US has an annual turnover of $6 billion, over $6 billion.
Wow.
So we are members of these 2 organizations through our back-end company, which is BMC Support and Accounting Services. In short, we call it BMC SAAS, which is a catchy name. So we've been on this for about 9 years now, and we participate in a lot of their conferences, their webinars, their training programs, etc. They have conferences all over the world, right from Asia Pacific to Middle East to the US, of course, and Europe. So there we interact with a lot of CPAs, accountants, and we get a lot of new ideas, lot of new thoughts. These guys are really up to date. Accountants, you might think of them as boring, but they are really up to date. Technically, business-wise, they're very smart, very aggressive, etc. I think the only time they relax is on maybe once a year or twice a year.
Maybe today it's
Otherwise,
Easter, so maybe today, right?
yeah, absolutely. So in BMC SAS, we have about 60 people, including managers and supervisors and executives. And this is hardcore back office. And we have our directors and myself looking after this personally. So we started this off in a very small way. And I'm happy to tell you that we are working with over 30 accounting firms all over North America, including direct clients. These are mid-level CPA firms stretched out from New York to New Jersey to Houston in Texas to Reno, Nevada, to California, various places, etc. And several direct clients also amongst them. Some of these accounting firms are very, very upwardly mobile, and they are always pushing us for new ideas, in fact. So we started off with just data entry many, many years ago. Then we moved into accounting services for them. From there, we switched into tax services, both Canada and US. And then we're happy to tell you we switched on to audit services. So basically, we do the whole audit process here, more than 90%. And then we coordinate very carefully with these accounting firms and we send it across. We work on their software, their procedures, their timings. Everything is client related. We've learned this the hard way. We have to think like the client. We have to act like the client. We have to be the client, in the client's shoes. Because the accounting firm take the work on from their respective clients and they offshore it to us. So in the audit part, we've gone further upmarket in this. We are doing 401ks also. Audit of 401ks in India. Very technical, took us several months to learn. And a lot of training goes into this, which I'm talking in a few minutes, but it takes a lot of patience, a lot of time because of the accuracy which is involved, the sample testing which is involved, the methods which are involved, the working papers which are involved. It takes a long time to get used to it and the procedures. So we are pushing now into Canada, more into Canada and Europe also. And we go across and meet them, direct clients, accounting firms, and different people we meet on the foreign trips. We have these virtual calls almost on a daily basis between our offices in India, between our senior partners and audit managers and the foreign clients. So this is a brief background of the various type of services, which I'll repeat very briefly again. One is client accounting services, one is the tax services, one is the audit services, and we've also gone into a very technical area called transaction and business advisory services. For example, if an investment banker is doing a quick merger deal, M&A deal, they need due diligence, financial due diligence on both sides. So we step in at that level and we do a lot of investment analysis, financial analysis, and according to their particular requirements. It doesn't matter which the company is in which sector, maybe in services sector, maybe in manufacturing, whatever. So we have to get into that company, do as much as possible within a few days, because these M&A deals are always on a very, very tight schedule. So we have to do that, and more data we get out, the more analysis we do, it helps them, both sides, in making up their minds on how to proceed further in the M&A deal. This is a brief of what we do in BMC SAS.
Awesome. I think that's really commendable. The fact that it's a 100-year-old company and you have kind of reinvented your organization and you've kind of set it on a different trajectory. I think one of the challenges that organizations face, especially when it's generational, is how do you reinvent yourself and how do you create a vision which is sustainable, and how do you help your team align to that vision, which is one of the reasons why I wanted you on our podcast today, because the topic, as I shared with you, is about vision clarity, vision alignment, and how do you use vision to help make your organization successful and sustainable. So my next question to you is, what is, in your opinion, vision and vision clarity, and what is your thoughts on that?
Okay, Ingo, I think that's a very, very good question. Not an easy answer. I'm being very, very straightforward with you.
And thank you for your candor, because not many, will accept it, that figuring out your vision is not an easy task, because vision is really very long term. It's not a here and now.
Yes.
Vision is something which has to outlive you and I and many generations.
Yes.
That is vision.
Absolutely right. So basically, whether you call it vision, whether you call it a plan for the future. So I had to, along with my senior partner, think on a different level when we went outside of India, when we started working with the foreign accounting firms and direct clients, because it's not the small thing of about just on a different time schedule. The West is Europe is about 6-7 hours behind us, and the US, Canada is about 9 to 12 hours behind us. Those are practical issues. But we had to start thinking like them. We had to start acting like them. So our team had to be trained. Teams, many teams had to be trained. And which we still do. It's an ongoing exercise. So we think this training is part of our vision, because just by talking to some of our team members, we don't get the point across so much. We have to keep on training them on an ongoing basis. It's a never-ending process. In fact, once or twice a year, it's mandatory from our internal thing. We don't mind even if the person takes a few days off from the regular work, but we keep on between the teams. We keep on talking to each other. We pick up so many best practices from each other, even at our different locations in India, even from across teams. Even if the same team is doing the same 401k audit on behalf of an accounting firm, even though 401k remains the same, but the method of approaching 401k audits always differs from accounting firm to another. This is our experience. So our vision was to be, one of the main visions was to be we have to think like those guys. We have to think like our clients. We have to be useful to them. How are we useful to them? We have to be so useful to them that they'll not think of replacing us. We tell them that we are an extended part of your team in India. You may call us by your firm's name only, extended part. In fact, we always refer to our team members as, we say, they are your team members. You can train them, you can tell us. So we have no issues in this regard. Our team members interact directly with the accounting firms and with the direct clients also. So this was our main vision, was to align ourselves in such a way, our thinking, our thought process, our whole idea, that we still remain accountants and auditors, but in a very different way. Our institute in India is also fairly advanced in their thinking, in their ideas, but the ones in the West, especially in the US, is on a different level. I'm not saying it may be more advanced, but they're on a different level. And for them, the question of security and the question of accuracy and the question of privacy is extremely, I mean, to the word extremely important. So, very surprisingly, for us and not for them, virtually all the time, the first question we are asked when we talk to a new accounting firm or a new client is not what your pricing is or what your teams are, what your this thing is. How secure is my data going to be? Security is essential. So that is part of our vision when we talk to them, that we internalize all these things and we tell them the procedures of how we can do their work in a secure way. I won't go into the technical aspects of it, but by the end of it, they are definitely convinced, because we are working with over 30 firms now. So they're definitely, and everything takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes a couple of months to convince those guys. But happy to tell you that 99% of the people who start with us, they remain with us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very good.
And unless the firm gets merged or the firm gets, shut down or closed down, then we just carry on. So that's the purpose is to be, that we have been around for a long time in our accounting firm in India, and we want to be here for a long time in the back-end services. Not only for accounting, but we've gone into tax and audit now, and then different types of audit. And from audit, we jumped into this transaction advisory also. So, not only our team leaders, but myself and my partner have to keep on learning about the different goals which we want to achieve, not only from the financial point of view, but from the thought process, from the methods of talking. For example, in the last conference in Washington DC in November, at the US conference at the US firm, they talked a lot about ESG, and the accounting firms pushed us a lot. They said you have to get onto ESG because that is not only the future, it is the now. So we have already tied up with another firm who's partly based in India, partly based in the US, who's concentrating a lot on ESG. So we're going to collaborate with them, learn from them, teach them about us, and cross-sell our services. So that's part of our goal alignment. Training and development I've talked about a lot. It's a continuous process. In fact, any new work starts from the existing accounting firm. They insist on some basic training to be done, and we also insist on that. Even if it might be 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, but it helps us a lot. So that is really useful. We have regarding recognition and rewards within our organization. So we continuously evaluate not only our team leaders, but the managers below them and the actual executives who are on the ground level. It's a continuous process. So on a quarterly basis, we have a meeting amongst the seniors and we think of ways and means how to reward these guys, not only from the monetary point of view. Monetary point of view is very important, but from the recognition point of view. This is what we feel that you have done. Further, you can do something else for the client. If for A client, we are trying to do 4 types of services. For B client, we are trying to do only 2 types. So why can't we sell to B client also that we are doing this for another client without disclosing names, without disclosing any thoughts or procedures, but we can do it for you guys also. Basically, these guys on the ground can do it because they are in daily touch with the clients on the accounting firms and their managers. So that matters a lot and helps us a lot. Basically, we encourage feedback from the clients. Most of the clients, we have a monthly feedback meeting. It might be as short as 15 minutes. It might go up to 1 hour, 15 minutes. But the idea is to keep on getting feedback from them on what is happening, what are the newer areas we can do, how can we do it better, are we lagging behind in certain areas, etc. So we propose this to the accounting firms and they all of them look forward to it a lot. In fact, they are quite pleasantly surprised and happy with this because when we say, why don't we do at least a monthly call, maybe even a fortnightly call like that. So our team, I'm also happy to tell you that we have about over 95% of our team members who joined us several years ago, especially the senior guys, have stayed on with us. So that's a big achievement in India because the big 4 are coming and just knocking off everybody, especially Deloitte.
So you've named them now.
Yeah. Deloitte has only 80,000 people in India, only for back-end accounting and audit services. Only.
Wow.
And growing.
Only.
And growing. Yeah, only. So we encourage our team members always we literally tell them you have to run this on your own because we are depending on the team members, we are depending on the managers and supervisors. Accounting, audit, tax, everything depends on the quality of the figures. It has to be accurate, it has to be correct, the correct accounting entries have to be passed because the whole financial data can change and can give a different meaning. Even though we don't certify because we are not CPAs practicing in the US, which we're already thinking of doing. That's our next step. That's our next individual goals. But we keep on encouraging our own guys, and I'm happy to tell you, several of them have gone, higher in this process, and a lot of them are self-taught. So we pay if they are taking any online courses, we encourage that, we pay for that, and the young guys pick it up like this. Because if you remember, I said earlier, we have to work on the client's software. Like in India, we have one major software called Tally, and majority of the people in India, majority of the businesses in India use Tally. But in the US, there are plenty of software going around. And we use a lot of the accounting software, different types of software. And within the software, there are so many other sub usages and how to manage it, how to keep the records, how to store the records. Working papers are extremely important. It's where we keep the WPs, how we keep the WPs, how we give the clients access to those WPs in case of requirement. Because questions might be asked 2 years later, sometime in the future. The person, the auditor has changed, but if the WP is kept clearly as a support, then nobody can question, why did you take up only so many samples for testing in a particular area, and instead of taking on a much higher sample basis. The basis, the procedure, all that is recorded and kept, and what the instructions were, how the instructions were, etc. This is what I've talked about. Some leadership support, about the discussions, about the feedback, about the training. About next point I would talk about is having a clear vision and alignment of our goals further.
So the question for me is the question that and this is amazing. I think you have done a lot to kind of stay current and stay agile, if I may say so, in trying to adapt to the changing conditions.
Yes.
So how do you do you articulate a particular vision of your organization today to every team member, whether it's in the accounting side or on the support and accounting services side? Is there a common vision that you articulate and try and see if people can internalize it today?
So I'm lucky to have a couple of young partners with us in the audit firm, BM Chatrath LLC, who are also actively participating in our support and accounting services. So those guys, their thinking, their thought processes, their procedures, and they move like this. World is all on the net here, all online. So, and I'm happy to tell you, our institute in India has also got into this act and is encouraging accounting firms to be basically the back office of the world. That's a big thing. For example, a funny small example I'll give you. We're working with an Italian accounting firm. So those guys, their first reaction was, how will you understand the language, even though the figures remain the figures? So we actually have a guy coming into one of our offices, and who knows English and who knows Italian, who does the translation very quickly, and maybe working from home or maybe coming into our office. And we just move very fast on that. Like if the data comes in the evening, that person sits at home or interacts with us and converts it into English so that we don't lose any time, and we work a little later in the evening and we make up for it. So there are ways and means of getting around everything, even language. I'm not talking about Google Translate, because here we want to go figure to figure, word to word. Everything has to be translated and everything has to be seen in their overall measurement. So this is part of our overall vision. Vision keeps on changing. Alignment keeps on changing. Like you rightly said, we have to stay current. Overall vision, of course, I'm talking about the normal cliches, integrity, innovativeness, all that is always there. but our vision keeps on changing all the time. Broad vision remains the same, to be amongst the best in our line of work. At least the best from India.
Absolutely.
Then maybe the best from Asia Pacific in our line of work. And of course, the most economical. Actually, we concentrate more on our quality, and then our pricing comes a little later. Because I feel that has a better effect long term and better long-term relationships with the accounting firms. This has been our experience. So we built it into our thought process also.
Excellent. So I kind of I think you kind of touched upon in your previous points that how you try and keep it current for you by the training that you provide and the kind of feedback and the fact that you have excellent employee retention policies, thereby you're able to retain 90% of your talent, and you empower your teams so that they feel invested and they feel relevant in the organization.
Yes.
How do you do it at the grassroots level, Anand? Person who's like a fresh article clerk kind of a guy who's just joined the firm. How do you help them imbibe the BM Chatrath organizational culture? How do you say, okay, I'm a BMC team member? How do you help them internalize and feel wanted and relevant? How do you align them and how do you internalize that? What do you do differently?
So both in our audit firm and in our support and accounting services back-end company, when any new person joins us, of he or she, whatever, we don't start giving them pep talks and lectures from the beginning. We let them move around for a little bit of time, and we say we encourage them to interact with as many team members as possible. And we say you ask all your normal questions. Who are these guys? What is the situation like? How strict are they? How do they measure our working? What is the working style? That type of thing. So they feel very comfortable. And after a few days, one of the partners steps in, either me or by one of our senior partners steps in. And there we give some written guidelines, of course. By that time, that person is feeling far more comfortable. Because we say, you don't have to listen to us only, you listen to the actual team and get the feedback from the team. So you don't believe us only. You actually see on the ground. They feel very comfortable with this approach. I don't know how many people follow this, but we've sort of evolved this over a period of time. And they feel far more sort of friendly organization. They feel far more comfortable in this, the newcomer. When the actual colleagues are telling them that these are the, major do's and major don'ts. For example, security is a crisis point for us. You can't even go, you can't even think of doing anything which prohibits anything on security angle. But timings, we are relaxed. Procedures, we are relaxed. Methods, we are relaxed. You have any genuine issues, personal issues. So we are quite relaxed. We want to work together. We want to get the maximum output out. And that the employee wants to get the maximum benefit. So we encourage them. We say you are part of X team, but that doesn't mean you can't learn what is happening in the team which is across from you. So the young people especially love this idea, and most people like to learn new software, new procedures, new methods, which is free for them because they're getting the actual practical training. So we say, listen, and we know we follow this. And we encourage the other team members also who've been around working there. We say, listen, as long as you're not disclosing anything from the security point of view, but the procedures, the methods, the way the work is done, if you tell the others also, then they feel very, they feel very happy about it. They feel very satisfied, should I say, because they're learning something alongside their work, alongside their normal work. So these type of ideas and thoughts, we we feel. We feel that it helps the guys on the grassroots level also. We are an open, should we say, open AI. We are an open organization.
Excellent. Nice, nice. So, Anand, you've been running this firm for how many years now? How long have you been at the helm?
I've been at the helm for over 30 years.
Wow. So, I'm assuming you've been evolving and reinventing yourself and your organization, which you kind of was very evident from how you have grown from, if it's 100 years old, you have done a lot of innovations and changes. What tangible anecdotal benefits can you share with us you have been able to see because of your focus on trying to keep a clear vision and a clear culture within your organization? Anything that you can kind of anecdotally share, like an example, because that would be very helpful.
So one very practical point is, I'm talking about the back-end services which we do in BMC SAS. We insist on some training with every client, and we say to the client that for this short period when the training is going on, we will not charge you anything. It's a hand-holding exercise. We say that whatever you're telling us, we put it into a booklet type of thing. We call it a Bible. So that Bible is available with us, so that we don't have to frequently keep on asking you the same questions again and again, which causes a lot of wastage of time, lack of clarity, and we'll end up with a lot of mistakes on both sides. So this training and actually doing it practically, and we offer to them, to the accounting firms, that we will do it. We will be happy to do it on a trial basis, free, absolutely, for you. Some even say that no, not a problem. We'll even you can count this as part of your billing, etc. Another thing is what is very practical usage is that both these large organizations run a lot of webinars on the training angle. So we encourage our guys, even the confidence building, even the methods which they put on their websites, how that they put out a problem. For example, accounting firm sitting in Canada puts out an issue that we want to get into this new area. We want to do this, offer these further services. Does anybody within the whole group understand this or offer any services? So we pick up on these services also. We force ourselves to learn more than usual, because we have a motive. Actually, we have an ulterior motive. But slowly, instead of somebody in California training somebody in New Jersey, why can't we offer these services sitting in India? So happy to tell you also that we also offered to one of the accounting firms, without taking names, without even mentioning, a pretty large firm now, based in Houston. We said we'll even monitor your employees, your productivity, which was not an easy thing to do. They are supposed to be monitoring us. But in the meantime, we have started monitoring their productivity, not on the back end people, but their normal. I'm talking about people on their organization who are offering audit and tax services. So, which is highly confidential. It goes from partner to partner level only. So we basically, to say without any bias, we don't even know the names of those guys, of the employees. They delete the names. They send us the raw data. We analyze it here and we send it back. Okay, how much time was basically productivity? Are they still continuing with the same lot of clients they were doing 3 months ago? Is there any feedback from the clients locally, etc.? We've also gained so much confidence with some of these accounting firms that they've told us. One of our team members got the confidence so much of the accounting firm. We encouraged that team member, the manager, so much that the accounting firm told them, listen, don't bother me, you talk to the client directly, which is a huge thing for us. That means that confidence levels are built up so much that they have offered the client to us. They know that we will handle the client with kid gloves. We will never say anything wrong purposely. We will never try to hijack the client in any way, etc. So that's a huge confidence measure in us once they've given us that type of, authority to go ahead.
I agree. So my last question to you today, Anand, is what are the challenges you have when you try and run your organization with the particular vision that you have? Do you see any challenges?
Plenty of challenges. Challenges are ongoing. I mean, broadly, I can speak for a long time on this challenges. It's one is keeping our guys motivated, financially and otherwise. Timing is totally open. We are totally on a hybrid scheme, work from home, work from office. All we insist on, anything we just insist on security. The work needs to be done and the work needs to be secure. So it doesn't matter to us if those guys have given us a budget of 8 hours and we are taking 10 hours. We'll still bill them for 8 hours to the US accounting firm, because knowing how particular they are, because they accordingly will have to put it into their budgets and bill their client accordingly. Of course, we keep on improving our efficiency in this area. Training is a major issue before we start any work, because getting to know any new client always takes a little bit of time. So our partner director and myself and one senior manager get on to any new work we start. So for the first 1 month, we do a lot of hand holding internally, literally on a day-to-day basis. So that's a huge challenge for us. There are quality issues faced. There are things which they have told us, but we have not understood, or vice versa, etc. Those things happen. But the target is within 1 month, within 30 days, we have to be fully on board. Have to be. So that's another major challenge. A minor challenge is language. Sometimes when we're having these calls, especially in the south of US, the Texas drawl is quite different from the New York guy and from the way we are talking. So we made it into a habit of talking a little slowly, at least from our side. And we also made it into a habit that when it's a very technical session, we request them, either they record it or we record the meeting and they send us a copy of the recording. We tell them beforehand. So these are all very practical things which we've, found out over a period of time. We've also found that even if you're working with an accounting firm whom we've never met, and then a couple of months later we meet them at a conference, that helps tremendously from the confidence building measure. That looking each other in the eye, shaking hands with the person, having a quick drink with that person, and talking very frankly with them. Okay, whatever issues you have, please tell us. Any way we can improve, what can we do? Laugh a bit with them, make fun of ourselves, and say, so basically saying we are with you guys here.
Got it.
So these are some of the very practical challenges we face. Because of the Big Four, we keep an eye on our seniors and our whole team.
Excellent.
Mobility. So,
got it.
Because these guys don't want to give any further training. The foreign clients, the US Canadian accounting firm, they say it's not our problem, it's your problem. So what we do is one very important thing, even though it costs us quite a lot, we always have backups. If supposing 3 members in a team, we'll have a backup. We'll have at least one backup. So we have a team who are just moving around the organization as a backup. Those guys. Then we rotate those guys also, because sometimes they should not feel that they are not doing anything on a continuous basis. So these are some of the practical issues which we face, some of the challenges which we face, etc. Language, this training, being totally in sync with those guys, and mobility, and like you rightly said, staying current. We have to stay current. So we are trying out AI. We are trying out Bard right now. We are trying out ChatGPT, of course. With very funny, limited success. Limited success.
I agree. It's AI still got some distances to go. So, but
yes,
it's coming. So it's the sooner you, I love the saying that I heard once, and I kind of try and imbibe it myself, that the best way to ride a storm is to ride into the storm, basically. That's the fastest way to ride a storm, right? So you go into the chaos and embrace the chaos, embrace the change, and something good will come out of it. So on that note, I thank you for your time, Anand. I know it's pretty late in the night for you in India on a Sunday night, but thank you so much for finding the time. It's been a joy, and it's always a pleasure speaking with you, and your positive outlook and your positivity is it's very infectious. So thank you so much. I wish you and your firm all success and many, many more success. And I look forward to your participation in this group and in other forums that you and I are trying to pursue. So
definitely.
Thank you, Anand, and have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Ringo, you're not good. I'll tell you why. You're the best.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe to the EL Forum channel.